No worries. Thank you very much for the introduction there, and welcome to the story of Firefly Resources. We've been around for a little while. We renamed the original company late last year, and we've embarked on a very gold-focused strategy, and it's starting to pay off for us. We've managed to pick up a very good asset in the Yalgoo Gold Project, and we're obviously leveraging off the great geology there. As was mentioned, market cap around 42. With a bit of a slide in the gold stocks yesterday and the day previous. So that's where we're sitting at. We've got 2.5 in the bank, very well positioned, funded to do what we need to do. We're very tightly held, 64% approximately held by our top 20. The other 36 or so trades pretty well. So we're pretty happy with how that's set up. 257 million shares on issue. Nice and tight, and a great management team. So I've got a really supportive board. Mike Edwards recently coming on as chairman, non-executive chairman. He's also a geologist, very supportive of what we're doing. Great corporate network. So we have a strong team there. Jeff Jones, MD of GR Engineering, lots of processing and construction of those processing facilities experience. So that's very helpful for us going forward. And Ashley Patterson came on with the recent vend of the project, and he's got a lot of finance and corporate background as well. So a good, nicely balanced board there. And we have a strict corporate focus of maximising funds as meters in the ground. My previous history running a business first and a gold company second was drummed into me by Phil Beeman at Northern Star, and that's how I plan to run an exploration company. So we are maximising our money in the ground. We're drilling again this week. In fact, we start today, 4,000 metres of RC. This is the second phase. And obviously, there'll be some great news flow to come out of that after our initial 1,200 metres that yielded some pretty spectacular results. Next slide, please. So our projects are spread across WA. We like the jurisdiction. Obviously, it's a very good place to operate. Good permitting, low sovereign risk. Everybody's into it. So it's a great place to operate. We've got the Yalgoo Gold Project in the centre there, only 5 hours from Perth, which is just a great location for us to be. It's sort of a forgotten goldfield that a lot of people have driven past and, sort of ignored, I suppose, for want of a better term. We're not ignoring it. We're getting stuck straight into it. There's an advanced amount of drilling there over a historic resource. There's a couple of other little historic resources there as well. So we see that as a very strong foundation for what we're doing here. Huge scale. We picked up pretty much the whole belt, and we've also pegged more ground since then to make sure that we have all the footprint there over the good rocks. Drilling underway, as I said, second phase of our 10,000 metres that we've told everybody about. That's what we're doing. Very excited to start again today. My geo is on site. Very, very excited to get underway. PATERSON Copper Gold Project. We put out an announcement yesterday just to remind people that we have that up there. We've added to that project. It's a strategic pickup for us. It's a great land holding, tier 1, world-class province. And we are very keen to sort of leverage off the fact we now have granted tenements and some of the shallowest high-grade results in that region. Forestania Gold Project. It's the project that attracted me to the company in the first place. It's a greenstone belt. It's where I've made all my success. I've had a lot of success drilling, good geology with the drill bit. So that's what I plan to do across the 3 projects that we have. Next slide, please. So zooming in on Yalgoo, you can see our footprint there pretty heavily across the northern part of the belt there, the 28 kilometres from the Yalgoo township north to the extent of our tenements is just littered with historic workings that have never had a drill hole in them. The MELVILLE deposit's obviously our focus at the moment with 140,000 ounces in historic resource there. We're aiming to upgrade that to a JORC 2012 compliant as soon as we can. Following this 10,000 metres, I'd say would probably be the time frame we're looking at there. We're starting to see some very good widths there. We're starting to get a handle on the geology. There's 3 different types of mineralisation there, and I'll go into a bit more detail on that a bit further down the track. There's a lot of other gold prospects around that haven't had any follow-up in the last 15 years at least. So it's an amazing opportunity for us. Lots of new resource potential there and updates to the existing. We also have 5 gold mills within 150 kilometres trucking distance. So we're pretty well positioned and we're sitting on top of a regional scale opportunity. Next slide, please. The Melville Gold Deposit, no open pit. This is what I call a unicorn situation in WA and you know, possibly across some of the other more major goldfields of the world. There's usually an open pit over the main resource. Someone's taken the cheap gold. We have this in situ, as I said, within 150 k's of 5 mills. So this is what we're looking at, a very shallow opportunity. We will be able to put a pit shape over this. That's my intention. We'll start with the resource first, and then we'll move down that sort of feasibility study pathway. The last resource estimate was done in 2004. It was actually done to 1999 standards, so there's a lot to be updated, and the gold price has tripled in that time. So very big opportunity for us there. Lots of news flow, as I put in there. 2012 update, resource upgrade. We're going to make it bigger, there's no doubt. There's 8 kilometres of strike along from this deposit. It sits on one banded iron formation, which you can see in geophysics from space, basically. So we're going to follow that to the north. There's also parallel banded iron formations, and we think the same quartz veining that's come through, the same porphyry intrusives that we see have affected those belts as well and created just amazing potential. The gold price obviously being 2,600 plus is very helpful too. Next slide, please. The first program we did there, 1,200 metres for 10 holes. We made a discovery outside of the existing resource within the first, well, it was by the second hole we knew we were onto something. So that was really good for us to see. We know that there's potential outside this existing historic resource. That's where the opportunity for us is. We know that, you know, there's 84 RC holes drilled into this resource. There's a very solid foundation. We're just going to build on that. We saw some spectacular high grades. We know what that means. There's a high-grade vein system that runs through this banded iron formation, which is what the Melville deposit is centered on. That quartz veining has brought gold fluids into that rock type, and we know that we can definitely leverage off that knowledge that we've just gained in the first program to you know, chase up those high grades and really put some heat under this. We also saw mineralized porphyry. We suspected that that was the source. The previous owners had hinted towards something along these lines, so we're quite happy to confirm that that is the case. We see mineralization in the porphyry. So we have mineralized porphyry, we have mineralized banded iron formation, and we have a structural component, which I think is the key to this belt, very high grade. So we're gonna leverage off all of that knowledge that we've gained and test these kilometre scale systems. Next slide, please. So just to give you an idea, the two cross sections there are 250 metres apart. The geology is very consistent. We can see these faults that are offsetting the banded iron formation. We can see the mineralisation in the banded iron formation, and we can see these high grade vein systems that are cutting through. So obviously they're very spectacular. A metre at 1400, which was actually part of a 6 metre at 244, which to me is very, very encouraging. That is a you know, well mineable width at well mineable grades. In our second lot of drilling, we also saw another 2 metres at 22 from 107, which again to me is another one of these high grade systems along strike. So we are right in it here. We will be chasing the high grade quartz vein component. The mineralized porphyry is obviously very important, and the banded iron formation is the shallow host at close to surface. So lots of potential here. Next slide, please. We made some acquisitions immediately after the initial vend. 3 million in scrip was the initial vend. We picked these tenements up for 250,000 cash. I found it on Gumtree. You'll be surprised what you can find on Gumtree. We also picked up a bunch of gold processing equipment from an alluvial point of view. We're not about to go out there and process alluvial gold, but we are very happy about the upside of having that machinery there. There's a lot of demand for that sort of equipment at the moment. And the really important thing for us, what we saw as soon as we went to visit these people, was that there are outcropping porphyries that are mineralized at surface that have been tested in the past, and we will test them in the future. They've never had drill holes in them. They've been shedding gold into this basin for the last however long. These guys that we bought this project off have actually benefited from the shedding of those porphyries. We're going to benefit from the porphyries. So huge scale, untouched, unloved, and we're getting stuck in. Next slide, please. So just to give you an idea of the scale here, 28 kilometres is where we can see workings, old drill holes with huge grades in them. We're pretty happy that we're sitting on top of a very big system here at regional scale. It's very, very rare to be able to pick up this much coverage. We are extremely excited about what we've got in front of us here. The geophysics is very helpful, obviously, so we don't have to spend a lot of time doing reconnaissance. There's been a lot of work done here, and when you overlay that new modern geophysics with the old geochemistry of soil sampling, you know that there's just kilometres of potential here. We have 5 advanced gold prospects, as I said. I'll let you go through the details there, but there's just so much to prioritise. It's really exciting. The really big thing for us is the untested historical workings. We can follow them for kilometres, and they've never had a drill hole in them. They were obviously mined back in the 1920s and earlier. They were hand mined. They were very high grade, as indicated by some of the way that they mined these. They mined them to surface. They didn't leave any pillars behind, and that tells me that they were mining visible gold, and as much as they could to shallow depths, and we have it open. So we will be getting stuck into that as soon as possible. Next slide, please. Moving on to our PATERSON project, which we spoke about yesterday. Obviously, we've got a great ground position there. A lot of people didn't know that we'd picked this up. Under the former company name, there wasn't a lot of interest in what we were doing, but I wanted to make sure that people understood. We now have granted tenure in the PATERSON province. We are the only junior with a significant land position that isn't joint venture to somebody at this stage. And we have some of the shallowest copper, gold and moly grades in this region within the top 100 metres. This was initially discovered by CRA at the Wanderer prospect down by our central tenements there. And we are very keen to get involved there. We've managed to negotiate a mutual agreement with the local traditional owners, which is I'm very excited about being able to work with the people on country there. Next slide, please. Just a simple cross section, very simple geometry, obviously very lightly drilled. There's only a few holes there. They were drilled back in 87, 88, and no follow-up since then. So it's a screaming opportunity for us. Very excited. Walk up shallow drill targets, and you can't say that about the PATERSON. It is an exceptionally challenging place to work and can be quite expensive, but this for us is it looks quite cheap, low risk, and I think we're going to see some success here as well. Next slide, please. In Forestania, obviously the original asset that got me involved in the first place. Large scale, 600 square kilometres of highly prospective greenstone belt. We need to do some more work on this. It does require us to advance this. We did make a couple of little discoveries, but obviously with the vend of the Yalgoo project and the success we're having there, that's going to be our main priority. But we will follow this up. We will keep working on this particular part of the world. Great opportunity for us to have a couple of greenstone belts within this company and exposure to PATERSON. I think we really are well positioned. Next slide, please. Sorry, thank you. So just in summary, we have a tight capital structure. We're well funded and we have a strong focus. That's as simple as it is. We intend to put every dollar into the ground as meters, and that's my primary goal. Our primary project is the Yalgoo Gold Project. We will deliver a JORC 2012 compliant mineral resource. We will grow those resources. We will establish reserves. We will have strong news flow. We will keep drilling. There's no doubt about that. That's what I love doing. This is what I do. Potential cash flow opportunities from the 5 nearby mills. I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you have these guys that, and we're sitting next to them building these resources and reserves, I'm pretty sure there's going to be a conversation coming fairly short. And we have a focus on project economics. I'm a mine geologist, so I look after every dollar. I make sure that we are drilling every dollar into the ground. We don't have an office. I am mobile. We have reduced the costs significantly across this company over the last 2 years of my tenure here. And I want to put all of those funds into the ground. And we're here to deliver results. I'm not here to be a lifestyle company. We're here to get it done. Look, and there's just a little saying there, drill it to kill it. If you can't kill it, it will be a mine. And I've carried that through my career. I was at Silver Lake and I've been at Northern Star. We definitely made those two companies much stronger with the philosophy. If you can't kill it, it will be a mine, and they are still mines today. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Simon. Great, couple of great assets you have there. Just you've got some fantastic grades at shallow depth. Is the plan to mine those, or do you keep drilling deeper?
Well, look, people are invested in our company as an exploration venture. That is what I intend to do, is to explore and grow these resources. If it came a time where we were given the opportunity to supply someone with some ore, there'd be a conversation about how that would be structured. But at this stage, we're very happy to keep delineating these resources. I think we have amazing scale here, and we have only really just started. I cop a little bit of heat for drilling the existing historic resource, but I mean, that's just the obvious thing for me to do. You test it, you make sure it's there. I'm a competent person, so I need to be able to sign off on these things with confidence. But what I can see is the scale. We're going to make this thing at Yalgoo much, much bigger.
And I mean, you are literally spoiled for choice. What are your priorities?
So the MELVILLE gold deposit, obviously having the lion's share of the ounces already defined, we will be growing that. We're starting to see positions outside of that existing resource. So that's just, to me, a no-brainer. We get stuck in there, we build it, we take it over 200, 250, 300. We grow to the north, we can see mineralisation in old grab holes and RC drilling, sporadic RC drilling that was done for us by the previous owners. They really were just starting to get underway when they basically fell over with a focus on Indonesia. So we really are just picking up where they left off. I'm very grateful for that, but we will use that to our advantage.
And Simon, a couple of shareholders are talking here about the share price, as they always do. Kind of got sold off last week after you came out of a trading pause. Were the results, those 6 drill results, a disappointment for you and the team?
Look, they definitely weren't at the same magnitude as a 1400 gram a tonne, but from my point of view, I mean, I've drilled some amazing grades in some existing gold mines. 12,000 grams per tonne. I held a record within the Australian gold industry for some time up at Paulson's, but we never recreated those grades. It's about consistency to me. 48 metres at 1.7, while some people might have been disappointed about that, comparing it to a 1400 gram per tonne, when you look at it from an economics point of view, it's almost 50 metres. That's an Olympic-sized swimming pool full of, at 1.7 grams per tonne. That is a spectacular result. That was actually the one I was more happy about. I love the fact that we've got high grade there. That gives us the structural component to upgrade these resources. It gives me comfort because I know, based on my experience in the Yilgarn and elsewhere, these high-grade quartz systems are actually where the upside is at. We've got our, basically within the first 10 holes, we have our finger on the pulse across this area.